So, in this lesson, we're going to be talking about prompt engineering, what prompt engineering is, why you need to master it, and the entire clear framework of how to get significantly better outputs from any prompt you use with any AI model, whether that's ChatGPT, Claude, or even if it's for image generation. The applications of this are limitless, and it is one of the most crucial skills to have. So let's jump right in. So, first, what is prompt engineering? It's basically the art and science of crafting instructions to get the best possible responses from the AI models you're working with. It's about communicating with AI in a way that produces accurate, relevant, and useful outputs consistently. Think of it as learning to speak the AI's language fluently, and the better your instructions, the better the results. So, why do you need to master this? The benefits of prompt engineering are basically you can get 10 times better results because well crafted prompts can dramatically improve the output quality from these AI models. You can save costs because you need fewer iterations, fewer API calls, fewer messages to get what you are actually looking for. It saves you time and the frustration. There's like literally nothing worse than having a conversation with any of these LLMs and them and you just going back and forth with saying this is not exactly what I was looking for, or it just like missing the mark, whether it's by a little or by a lot, because it doesn't know, like we were discussing in the previous lesson, about what good and bad looks like. And that's where giving it good and bad examples becomes so important. The competitive advantage is that most people use terrible prompts, get terrible outputs, and then they may use those terrible outputs for whatever it is they are using. But the better prompts you give it, the better outputs you'll get, and the better that is for you and the application that you need it for. And so it the more specific your prompts are, also the more likely you are to get consistent results, or at least similar kind of results, because you would be controlling the output, right? So when you give it, say, a system role and you give it good and bad examples, it is far more likely to give you more predictable outputs than if you gave it vague prompts like build a social media post for Facebook, versus you are an expert in, say, Facebook marketing for B2B companies in e-commerce, for example. And then you showed it what good and bad examples of Facebook posts in this niche and in this industry looks like, which may be data or posts that you've scraped from competitors or like businesses that you look up to. The outputs that you're going to get are going to be significantly better. So let's look at what this clear framework is and how you should try to implement this in any prompt you are using. So the first is C, which is context. It sets the scene and provides the background information, like who is the AI? We assign it a system role or a persona, basically. What is the situation we needed to solve in this case, and what background information is needed. And we're going to look at a few examples. So this is just more the explanation as to what these parameters are. The second one is length, which specifies exactly how long you want the response. It may be things like word count, the style, whether you want it in bullet points or paragraphs, and be specific. The next one is E, which stands for examples. Always show the AI what good looks like. Even better if you can show the AI what bad looks like. So provide at least a couple of examples of desired output. Use words like for example or like this. The A stands for audience, which is define who this is for. So this may be experience level, whether it's for beginners or experts. It may be for the industry or context, and what tone and style would this audience like to hear. And the last one is R, which is tell the AI what expert to become. So you are a marketing expert, act as a financial advisor, you're a copywriter specializing in email marketing or writing sales pages, whatever that is. So this is a rough outline of what the clear framework is. We're going to look at a few mistakes to avoid, and then we're going to look at a few examples. So common mistakes to avoid is always try and avoid vague instructions like write something good about marketing or write me a Facebook post. Now that you know this clear framework, this alone will significantly change how you interact with LLMs and the outputs that you get from them. So, not including examples and just expecting AI to read your mind. So, an example of this is kind of like, say, you went to a grocery store and there was this AI or LLM that's been trained on all the products in the store. There are hundreds or thousands of products here. If you told this AI, give me something brown, you don't know if it's actually going to give you a chocolate or, say, a potato or coffee, or what is it actually going to give you or recommend to you in its output, right? But say you were more specific and you told it, give me something brown and sweet. Okay, now it may give you chocolate, but there are still, say, hundreds of brands of chocolates to choose from, right? So then you may say, give me something brown and sweet that kind of looks like this, or that kind of has a purple packaging. And this is what that kind of looks like. So then it may narrow it down and it may show you Cadbury, but I'm sure there are other brands of chocolates that also have, like, say, a purple packaging. So, but can you see now how it is far less likely to give you a random output? Like, if you go there expecting chocolate, but it gives you potato or coffee, you are going to be significantly frustrated. Whereas, at least if it gave you another chocolate to begin with, you may be a little more likely to kind of continue that conversation and be like, oh no, this is not the one I was looking for. I was looking for one that had, say, nuts and raisins in it. And so then that may narrow down its search and, like, ultimately recommend, say, a Cadbury fruit and nut, or if there are other fruit and nuts. But, like, this is how you limit the context or the outputs that you get out of it. And that's where becoming good at prompting and becoming specific and including examples and everything we just talked about in the clear framework becomes so important. So yeah, that was just an example on a tangent, but let's come back. So giving it the wrong role, like using generic AI instead of an expert persona. You don't specify what the length is that you're looking for, you don't give it enough context, it doesn't know what situation you're in, and you give it multiple tasks, like saying, asking for 5 different things in one prompt. You always want to try and be specific and just ask for one output per prompt. So let's look at an implementation template. So usually you always want to start with the role. Say you are a specific expert role. So say you are an expert copywriter. You want to give it context, the situation or background information. So you may say something like, you are an expert copywriter who's writing a sales page for my business. Say we're doing it for this example, for my business AI Automation Masterclass, which is a Skool community that teaches people about AI and how they can build a one-person business by learning AI and automations. Something like that. Basically, a little more context about you, your business, and what you're using it for. Then you can include the audience, which is basically saying, my audience is looking to use AI to either save themselves time or make more money out of it, or whatever the goals may be. Or maybe they just want to learn automations for fun, to improve at their job, to get a better salary, whatever that may be. So you can lean into what are your target person's outcomes that they're looking for, their desirable outcomes. I don't want it to be extremely long, so I may say, give this to me in, say, maybe 1,000 words or 2,000 words. Or you can say, as something that would take 5 minutes to read, give it a couple of examples. So say I've seen other um, scripts or outlines of what good sales pages look like, or the topic that we were looking for. So if I know a couple of examples of what good and bad looks like, that's another way that I improve my prompt. And then you give it the task, which is, I basically want you to write this for me, the sales page or this landing page. So whatever it is that we are mainly looking for the AI to give us. And now let's look at a few good versus bad examples. So, a bad example may be, write about email marketing. And the problem with this is there's no role, no context, no audience, no length or examples. A better example would be, you assigned it a role, you are an email marketing expert with 10 years experience in SaaS companies. I'm launching a new project management tool for small businesses and need to create a welcome email sequence. The audience, create this for small business owners, 5 to 50 employees who just signed up for a free trial. The length, provide exactly 3 email templates, each 150 to 200 words. Examples, for example, email 1 should start like, welcome to the product, here's how to get started, and in the next 5 minutes, dot dot dot. and focus on immediate value. And the task is to create a 3 email welcome sequence that guides new users through setup and drives trial to paid conversion. Can you see how much better the second prompt is than the first one? And it's obviously going to give you a significantly better output, right? So let's take a look at this example. If we came into Claude and I said, write about email marketing. So, okay, it's just telling me what email marketing is, but I'll say, write a 3 email welcome sequence for my product in SaaS, and let's see what this comes up with. So it still gives you pretty good output, right? Because yeah, these LLMs have become so good at context, but it still asks these clarifying questions which are so important. And so yeah, it starts off with welcome and first steps, quick win and key feature, um, social proof and advanced features. And yeah, it gives us some bonus tips. But say now we gave it all of this and then gave this as the prompt, and then this is the output we'd get, which looks significantly better. And let's take a look at another one. So a bad example may be with help me with social media or write a Facebook post. Whereas a better example using the clear framework may be, you are a social media strategist specializing in LinkedIn for B2B companies. I'm a marketing consultant who wants to build thought leadership and attract enterprise clients through LinkedIn content. Create content that appeals to CMOs and VPs of marketing at companies with 500 plus employees. Provide 5 post ideas, each with a headline and 3 key points to cover. For example, post 1, the hidden cost of bad marketing attribution. Key points: 1, why 60% of marketing budgets are wasted, the attribution models that actually work, how to audit your current setup. And the task is to generate 5 LinkedIn post ideas that position me as an expert in marketing strategy and measurement. Just by improving your prompting, again, learning to prompt better is going to change your life, and the outputs that you get out of these AI significantly. It's going to feel less frustrating and less of a battle with them, because like a lot of people say, this AI or ChatGPT never really gives me what I'm looking for. It's very rarely the AI's fault, and it's usually that our prompts were usually vague. So the better we get at prompting, the better outputs we will get. So then a quick quality check before submitting any prompt is, did I specify a role or expert persona? Did I provide enough context? Is my audience clearly defined? Did I specify exact length requirements? And did I include at least one example? Pro tips: start with a role, always begin with you are a dash. Be specific as to the outputs that you want. Say 3 bullet points beats a few points, and you can say bullet points, paragraphs, number of words. Be specific basically. Use constraints. Limitations often improve creativity, so you can tell it, give it guidelines of what it is that you are actually looking for. Iterate, because you want to refine these prompts over time, and sometimes you will see that, say, some prompts give you better outputs than others, because the applications and, like, say, the variations of these prompting techniques are pretty much limitless. You've just got to figure out what works specifically for your desired outcome, and then save these winners in a library of your own. And once you learn how to master the clear framework, you'll get better results than 95% of users who just type in random questions and random prompts. So that's it for this video. I'll see you in the next one. Bye.